Hello and welcome to The Journey with Ammar Sheikh, where we explore stories of achievers, believers, change makers, and dreamers. As I always say, every person's life is a story, some told, some untold. Today we are going to uncover one of those, keeping it raw, real, and inspiring. Today we bring you the story of a leader who is redefining the way businesses think about finance, leadership, and people. Our guest believes finance is more than numbers. It's a tool that empowers entrepreneurs, strengthens businesses, and creates lasting growth. With nearly 3 decades of executive finance experience, she founded Macmillan Consulting, delivering executive-level financing leadership through AI-enabled solutions and global expertise across Canada, the USA, and the UK. What truly defines her is her philosophy of humanized finance, the belief that numbers should serve people, not the other way around. Today, we'll explore her entrepreneurial journey, the future of AI in finance, and the leadership principles behind successful businesses. Please join me in welcoming the entrepreneur, the finance strategist, and the visionary leader, Marietjie Macmillan. Thank you and welcome on the show, Marietjie.
Thank you, Ammar. Thank you for inviting me and letting me share my journey with the people and helping others make the decision perhaps to come along on this journey.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for joining me. I know you had to make sure that the calendars are aligned with the, and sorry for some back and forth while deciding the dates of being on the show, but finally we made it and I'm so grateful.
I am really pleased to be here and I'm glad our calendars finally aligned. We are both so busy, but sometimes the stars do align.
Absolutely. No, you're a fellow consultant and I get to learn more from you as we speak more on your journey and the number world. So, you know, the format of the show is pretty easy. It's about the journey of your personal life as well, and we'll talk more on the consulting side as well. So, just to begin with, where did your journey begin?
Well, you know, I think when I think more around where it started, I probably have to go back to when I was in like grade 9, when I was told I could not take certain or couldn't take certain courses as part of it. So in South Africa, when you take your courses and in grade 9, I was told I couldn't take those. And the reason for that was it was university level courses and I was too poor. So I wasn't allowed to take those courses simply because I would never have the money to go to university. And my journey started at that because it gave me the mindset that I wanted to change something. Because just because I'm poor and just because I am who I am shouldn't preclude me from being able to do something that really mattered to me. So when I think about where did it start, that's truly where it started for me, and wanting to change something that would matter to some people around me, my family, my nieces, my cousins, the people in the business world someday. And back then, maybe that's not how I saw the bigger picture, but truly that was the moment when things and when my journey started, because I became determined to change something that will give other people hope and faith.
Beautiful. What a great idea behind this cause of changing for others, so that that particular mindset of being poor or underprivileged or not getting the same as the others could. Thank you so much for your background. So you were born in South Africa, if I'm not mistaken? Yeah.
That is correct.
And when did you move to Canada?
30 years ago.
Oh, 30 years. It's already been 3 decades. Awesome. Wonderful. So what made you move to Canada?
Pretty much the same story. It is quite funny. So it just transitioned in South Africa from with the new government coming in. And again, it transitioned to, I started applying for jobs and the door got closed on me, simply for being the wrong race at the time. And yet I had a family to feed and I wanted more. I wanted opportunity so I could provide for my family.
Right.
And I moved next to a wonderful elderly couple who were on their way immigrating back into Canada. And they said, well, look at Canada. And look, my ex-husband and I, we started looking at Canada, Australia, Germany at the time. And Canada just had so much opportunity. And being able to see something that said, okay, wait, if I studied, if I did something, I could actually, that dream of when I was in grade 9, of being able to change and give people hope, I could actually achieve that.
Right.
And that was the reason for coming to Canada.
Okay, the right reason for the world where the opportunities begin.
Right.
Canada has a lot of, people don't understand, people just take it for granted that Canada has this or that, it's rich on this part of the world or that side, but the freedom you get over here, it's priceless.
It really is priceless. You know, if you did, it's not just everything free for everybody. You have to work for it. True. When you come here.
Yeah.
I would say always the first 5 years is hard on any immigrant, like
yeah,
you know.
Yeah.
But if you come and you work hard, it provides opportunity. As we'll explore through my journey in Canada, it's not always been easy.
Yeah.
But today I can turn around and provide opportunities back to some of those back home.
Yeah, true.
And that's pretty remarkable.
Yeah. Amazing. Marietjie, while you were growing up, what were the challenges you saw, apart from the one you have just mentioned about being in a certain race or a certain money class that could not give you or open the doors for opportunities? But as in being a child or the family values you had, what were the challenges you saw? Okay, this is where I get stuck and that's where I need to go beyond from.
I think for me as a child growing up, it really came down to a fact of money was a big deal.
Yeah.
And we were taught from very young that you work hard no matter what, but you'll be stuck for the rest of your life in one stream. And very young, when I was 9, my dad passed away. And very quickly, somebody had to pick up the reins. My mom was very, very badly injured in the same car accident. Oh. My brother didn't have the mental capacity to take on certain duties. And my sister actually has Down syndrome. And so I was left to be taking on something. So at age 12, I took my first job packing groceries alongside everybody else that were willing to do that job. But somebody needed to bring in money to be able to feed the family, do what needed to be done. And what I learned with it was determination. I wasn't willing to go out on the street and figure out how to feed the family that way. But I was willing to work hard, packing groceries. It didn't matter that it was degrading. It didn't matter that it was not a job for the white man, as they would have said back in those days. It was an honorable job. If I had to sweep the floor, I would have swept the floor. It was an honorable job.
Brilliant.
And that was one of the biggest lessons that I learned. There's respect in every single job. And if it feeds your family, it's worth it.
Yeah, it's doing the job for the right reason. And
Yeah.
sorry to hear about what you had to go through and losing your father at that age. And that's why I see, every time when I see or meet a woman who's that strong, there is a story behind that particular person. And I always get amazed and impressed and inspired, rather, learning from the people like yourself. So thank you so much for sharing that. So talking back, my belief is the mindset is built in your early days. Mm-hmm. I'm a true believer of that. Yeah. And later on, you can just brush up your skills or mold your craft. But the mindset is defined while growing up. That's a lot of behavioral therapists have mentioned in a lot of books, and I truly believe in that. So what was your mindset like? I know you're a go-getter. I can sense that. I've met you in other events too. And your purpose of giving back is definitely driven by some thoughts. So how did you train your mind back in the days?
I think for me, if I go back to just going through much of those days, there wasn't a me in the process. It was really about how do I make sure that my brother and sister had food? How do I make sure we keep a roof over our head? For any 12-year-old, that's a lot to carry. But there wasn't, and if you think of other 12-year-olds, what candy can I get?
Yeah.
What pretty dress can I get? But that never came into my mind. It was really about the family. And my mom wasn't well in those days after the accident because she was very badly injured. But it really put me in the center of how do I make sure that we have what we need for the family union? And if I think of how I run today, everybody around me, it's always about the greater good.
Yeah.
And I try and teach my teams very much the same thing. You always have to think of the big picture.
Yeah.
Because that really does matter. When you run things that way, I worked for the government in British Columbia. And I was there probably 6 months when somebody asked me, how did I build credibility coming into a government organization, never having worked in government?
Yeah.
And I said, I never thought of that. I've never tried. But I had to build an entire team coming into a brand new department. But when you have that mindset, and that's where I started at that young age of having the mindset of an us.
Yeah.
And when you bring yourself out of a me mindset into an us mindset, whether it's from a childhood or from a young career person, but you think around the us, that defines everything that you do.
Yeah.
Because it's not a me, where am I going to go?
Yeah.
What am I going to get? But it really defines everything around you, and everything else is a bonus.
Yeah. That's beautiful. So thinking beyond yourself itself is a lot of to do with being a giver.
Yeah.
So as I say, givers are always better because they are the people who are making the change, the good change in our times. So thank you for sharing your thoughts on that, Marietjie. Moving forward, so what has been a turning point in your life? Was it changing the schools, not getting the admission the right age, or moving to Canada, or any particular event you want to highlight?
I would say coming to Canada was a big thing for me. It was definitely a turning point in my life. It didn't come easy coming to Canada either.
Yeah.
Back when we came 30 years ago, my ex-husband was high up on the mines, so we came here, and for the next 20 years we spent it moving. And that's how I rebuilt my career. Every time we needed to move, so over 20 years we probably moved 30-something times.
Wow.
But it taught me resilience. It taught me how to restart. And that's amazing with what we do today, because that's what I do with every client.
Right.
It's startup, get
Yeah.
them going, redo their financials, get them going into a new board table and onto a boardroom. So it's amazing how these things teach us different things in life if we choose to let it teach us something.
Yeah.
We can become bitter and angry.
Yeah, you have to be open to accept.
Exactly. Yeah. But it can also teach us valuable lessons in life if we choose to let it teach us that.
Excellent. I mean, this is such incredible. It's like I'm getting a one-on-one coaching. Thank you so much on that. Marietjie, we are wrapping up the first half of the show about understanding your past and stuff. We'll move on towards your current engagements of work and what you're doing personally. If you allow me to take a quick break, please.
Absolutely.
We are exploring the story of our wonderful guest, Marietjie Macmillan, who is the proud CEO and founder of Macmillan Consulting. Stay with us. We'll be right back after a short break. Welcome back from the break. We are exploring a story of a wonderful guest, Marietjie Macmillan, who believes in giving back to people and just thinking beyond herself. So she believes in not I, she believes in we, she believes in us. And that's what is moving me as a person too. Thank you, Marietjie, for being on the show again. And thank you for sharing your wonderful thoughts about a 12-year-old going through all you had to go and being here as a strong, wonderful leader. Thank you.
No, I really love being here. It's great, you know, like we just talked behind the break. We don't think about these things every day, and I feel humble to be here. So thank you for having me today.
Absolutely a pleasure, ma'am. Moving on, so we have covered your past stories where your journey began. Now it's the present time. And before that, I want to start, what has been your proudest moment so far?
Whew. My proudest moment, other than being married to a wonderful man, if we stick to the career side of things, I think the last 2 years has just been an absolute riot. And there I can really, from my career, pull one of the proudest moments. We talked about the us, the we, me, my journey in life of why I've done what I've done, wanting to impart back into my family, the people around me, hope, courage. My proudest moment is opening up South Africa and not just giving my cousin a job, not just giving my niece a job, and I'm going to try not to cry, but truly giving them something to get up for every morning. We have 18 staff in South Africa. They have something. They have a job, they have a career. We're giving them an opportunity to build something that they know that they can be part of, that they can be proud of. They are working on companies in Canada and the United States that they can actually go back to their families every day. Most of them work remotely. Actually, they all work in South Africa remotely. But they can actually go back to their families at night and say, I'm proud of what I'm part of. And that is something that I'm incredibly proud of. I haven't done it all alone. I cannot do it without my cousin and my niece that work closely with me. They've decided to join me in this journey from that side, but I'm incredibly proud that we have been able to take part of my career and everything that I do here and give opportunity back to that where I come from and bridge the gap here in Canada with talent and people and help companies here. Being able to bridge that gap innovatively, I'm really proud of that.
Congrats to you, brilliant, and that's the dream you had while growing up, to be able to give something back to your people which you did not have the opportunity of. So hats off to you, very well done. What inspires you or drives you to keep on evolving every day?
Very much this that I'm proud of. South Africa has done a really good job since about 1996 of creating opportunities for the youth to study, something that wasn't available when I grew up.
Yeah.
But the jobs has not followed. So they still have the gap on the job side. But today, I'm creating that job here without them having to leave their families and their homes behind.
Beautiful.
And it's an incredible thing for me to be able to get up every morning and saying that I can help bridge that gap. They are able to be with their family, because I'm away from my family. I've been gone from my family for 30 years. Yeah. I know what it feels like. I don't have to do that to any one of them. Yeah. They can provide for their families while being with their families.
Yeah. Beautiful. Very interesting and important one. I always like to understand, how do people define success in their own terms? So what is your take on that?
Well, success depends so much on what you want success in.
Yeah.
For me, some of my greatest success probably ties back to some of my greatest proud moments have always been when one of my people have achieved something that they never thought they would be. Their next step in their career. Even if I've not had an opportunity for them in an organization, to me that's success.
Right.
Coaching and mentoring somebody beyond their ability is incredibly important for me.
Right.
Okay, sometimes that means I lose somebody in my organization because maybe I don't have a controller position, maybe I don't have a CFO position, and maybe another opportunity arises for them somewhere else to actually achieve that. And I'm sad to see them go because they are not with me, but I am thrilled because they are achieving a dream. And to me, that is success. Seeing people grow, To me, that's success.
I think all the leaders have that quality that they let people grow on their own pace. And that's why, like you rightly said, the mentors are there to help them grow. Beautiful thoughts, ma'am. Thank you. I'll move it towards the most integral part, as I was mentioning earlier, that this show is my contribution to the achievers like yourself and to celebrate you. But my focus is more towards how are you giving back to the society? What's your contribution to the people?
Yeah. Well, I think it's been so hard the last couple of years just because we've grown so fast, just getting back into the community, getting on board, sitting down and trying to really actively give back has been so time limiting. But I sit on a couple of boards to be able to give back into the community is one. And of course, I've been very active giving back into South Africa. Yeah. It's taken a lot of my time, and I'm very happy doing that. So sadly, I have not done nearly as much as I have done in the past, sitting on church boards, volunteering within my community. That is something that as the business settles down a little bit more, that is definitely, we've just got involved with the Brandford community, getting more involved with them at the chamber level as well, to be able to give back a little bit more, working within the Holdham and Norfolk area as well, to be able to give back a little bit more meaningful as the business settles down a little bit. We have more staff available. I've stepped out of some of my fractional CFO roles to work more on the business instead of just in the business. And as I'm learning to balance those two, I'm sure you've done the same thing, and learning, that creates some opportunity and capacity for me to be able to give back a little bit more to the community. I've just accepted a new role on one of the boards in the community here in the Oakville area that will really allow me to give back to the community. I'm not at liberty to share just where that is until they make an announcement.
Sure.
But I'm very excited to be actually on that board, because that would really give back to the community here as well.
Absolutely. You know, like you rightly said, that's the commonalities we have apart from being consultant, that we try to manage the communities and being a part of them. That's really important. I think being in the community, helping them grow, gives so much of satisfaction. And I think for me, success defines through those kind of stuff, that you're there to help others. Thank you so much for that. Any particular projects are you working on from AI side of finance, or any particular thing you want to mention?
Yeah, well, you know, AI is such a big part of finance now. And there's a lot of fear that comes with AI. Fear on the side of the employee, that it will actually erode their employment.
Yeah, the replacement,
Yeah, and then there's a fear on the employer side that it will take over their systems, it will erode what they've done in the past, it will erase their systems like it's done with some of the companies that it's done before. And striking that balance, education. So we as a Macmillan, as an organization, what we've done is we work closely with some AI companies right now to actually automate and digitize some systems. We really believe that it's important to utilize the tool, not to replace the people. Train our people to think differently, to work differently, and to always use AI as a tool. Finance has to remain humanized and use AI as the tool to do better. I'll give you a good example. I was doing something for one of my clients just within the last couple of weeks on one of the opportunities that I still work as a fractional CFO. And what I was preparing for my client, I prepared the work, the analysis. But I wanted a second set of eyes, just something to validate my thinking, because it was one of the things that was out there. We had a lot of questions around it, but I did the preparation, I did my analysis, I came to a conclusion. Then I opened Claude and I gave it my analysis, removed all the company's personal information, and I said, can you run an analysis and tell me your thoughts? It came back with the same assumptions, it came back with the same analysis that I did, but it validated. So that's where humanized finance comes in. So now, instead of me asking another CFO to redo the work that I
Yeah.
did.
It's been done by an AI generator.
Exactly.
And that's the right way of using the tools.
Correct.
You know?
I didn't have Claude do the work, charge my client for 3 hours,
Yeah.
and say it was my work.
Yeah.
I did the work
Yeah.
and then had it validate my assumptions and my conclusion to make sure my client gets the best
yeah.
end result.
Absolutely. No, I think that's the right way of moving forward too.
Yeah.
Marietjie, I'll ask you some fun ones which I particularly like, just to keep it light before we end the show. What advice would you give to your younger self?
Don't overthink it. Sometimes it's okay to just do it.
Yeah. Perfect. And what has been the greatest lesson in your journey?
Being self-rounded is very important.
Right.
I've never claimed to be an expert in absolutely everything. I've always been clear with my clients about it. I've always been clear with all of my employers when I was a full-time employee. And it's been one of the greatest things that have served me throughout my career. Surrounding myself with experts. And even if one of my employees is smarter than me, that's one of the smartest choices I would ever make.
Yeah. Like nowadays I see or read a lot of places, if you hang out with 5 smart people, you'll become the 6th.
Yeah.
So that's how the company matters. And you know, the brain, sit on a table where we don't talk about people, but ideas, principles,
Yes.
AI, finance, and all of those things. Wonderful. Thank you so much, Marietjie, for being on the show, for taking time out from your busy consulting schedules and being a fractional CFO for so many incorporations. So thank you so much for being on the show. Really appreciate you being here.
It was wonderful. Thank you for having me.
Before I let you go, would you have any last message for my audiences on this camera, please?
Yes, absolutely. I think if I can give any message, don't be afraid. When anybody or everybody says you can't do it, just do it. Prove them wrong. I was told you can't, you should not. And I've proven to the world that yes, I can, yes, I should. And today I have been proven to all of those that said I can't, that I can start 2 companies and make $1 million in less than a year, in less than 2 years. So you can as well. Show the world that your dream can be colored in technicolors and that you should do what everybody said that you cannot do.
Excellent. Thank you so much for sharing the thoughts and just letting the people just do it instead of just overthinking on the subject. Thank you so much, Marietjie, for sharing your wonderful thoughts, your vision as a leader and experienced finance professional.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
Perfect. What an inspiring conversation with Marietjie. She mentioned about, and she showed us rather about, that finance is more than numbers. It's about empowering people, building trust and driving meaningful growth for the businesses. I thank everyone who has been watching this episode and was a part of a wonderful journey of our wonderful guest, Marietjie Macmillan. Until next time, this is your host, Ammar Sheikh, and you were watching The Journey. Keep on dreaming and keep on achieving. Until next time, thank you.